everyone. My name is Eric Hayden. I'm a meteorologist with the National Weather Service down in Newport, North Carolina. Raise your hand if you have heard me present before this hurricane talk. Some of you have been here. No, nobody last year? Yes, yes. Now, you might not recognize me because, see, last year I was in that play, Fiddler on the Roof. So I had that big beard and my hair was crazy. That's why. So I look a lot different. So don't worry for those that have been here before. We always mix it up. We brought something different that you did not see last year. We've got some new information for you. The whole goal with this talk is to talk about hurricane preparedness. We are in hurricane season. There's a few things I want you to focus on. Continue to trust official sources. Water is what kills people. Don't focus on the category of the storm, focus on the impacts, and impacts can occur well away from the center. And we're going to talk about that through this presentation. Our biggest challenge is misinformation or you not paying attention to the right thing. These are all headlines right after Helene in Western North Carolina on YouTube, a lot of social media, a lot of messages are out there. People talking about getting ready, here comes the next one, kind of scaring you about things. Don't pay attention to this, pay attention to this. Weather.gov, hurricanes.gov. The National Weather Service is who I work for. $4 per person per year to fund us. So if you see any weather forecast, Jerry Jackson, Donnie Cox, Jim Cantori on the Weather Channel, for some of you that have the smartphones, you get a forecast that way. It's from us. And when I say us, all of us in the room, our tax money pays for satellites and radar and weather forecasts. So please get it directly from us. Those two websites are who you should pay attention to because it does create anxiety. If you watch things that are trying to hype you up, you're going to get worried about storms that you don't need to worry about. And then you're not going to trust us because if they say every day something's coming, something's coming, something's coming, and it never comes, then you don't trust us. So please focus on hurricanes.gov and weather.gov. And you might say, well, Mr. Eric, you know, you're from the Weather Service, you're down in Newport. Of course you have to come here and say, trust us. So I want to give you some proof of why you should trust us. Raise your hand if you saw Helene in the news last fall, devastating flooding in Western North Carolina, right? And a lot of people were kind of surprised, but the information was there if you focus on us. So this is the Wednesday before the storm. This is an incredibly dangerous situation, potential to be a once-in-a-lifetime event. Consider temporarily relocating to another location. I get paid the same today to do this talk as I do if we have a storm. So when I use strong language, it's because I see your faces, I remember you from year to year, and we care about you. I don't get paid more if the storm is bad. So please pay attention to us. A little science, that's our forecast cone. That's what a lot of people pay attention to. Where's the storm going to go? I want you to remember something. 3 days before Helene happened, it was not a storm. 3 days before it happened, it wasn't even a storm. And we accurately predicted it hitting Florida as a major hurricane. So the science is there. We are very, very accurate. A couple things, this map is useful. Don't just pay attention to it though. Don't think I'm in the path, I should worry. Now I'm out of it, I don't have to worry about it. If you're anywhere near this cone, you should pay attention. This only shows where the center of the storm is going to go. And we know a hurricane's not a dot on a map. Just because it hits Wilmington doesn't mean, phew, we're up in Snow Hill, we don't have to worry about it. If you're near the path, pay attention. This only shows where the center is most likely to go. So I want to show you one more thing, and it's not to show how old you are, but I need some crowd participation in this. So this is 1985. We're going to go back to a storm called Gloria. Back in 1985, 3 days before the storm hit, if I were to tell you that the storm was going to hit our area, our average error would be somewhere from Savannah up to Washington. So raise your hand if you're here in 85 and remember Gloria, or you're here in the mid-80s. You're here. So back then, again, I wouldn't be able to tell you any more accurate than it could be somewhere between Savannah and Washington, D.C., just the center of the storm. So kind of a wide goalpost. How about Floyd in 1999? Does anybody remember? A lot more hands. A little more accurate, I would tell the senior center, hey, the center of the storm may go somewhere between Charleston and Richmond. Not bad, but that's still pretty wide. And that's just the dot on the map. That's not the hundreds of miles the storm. Last year, if I were to tell the senior center Helene was coming, I would be able to tell them that it would be somewhere between Greenville and Wilmington. Let that sink in. Look how accurate the forecast has become over the last, couple decades. Very, very accurate. So please trust those, official sources for sure. This is the impacts occur well away from the center of the storm. They can certainly do that. So when you pay attention to that map, also look at the watches and warnings. Those will extend beyond the cone because the cone is only showing where the center is going to go. So if we're under tropical storm warning, if we're under hurricane warning, even if it's not hitting here, let's say it hits Myrtle Beach, does not mean we're out of the woods. Pay attention to those warnings. If we're under a warning, there's a reason for that. A lot of people focus on this dot, the eye, right? Well, here's Floyd coming in 99. We're getting rain. We're getting rain. We're getting wind, hour after hour after hour after hour. And oh, by the way, here's landfall. Landfall is important, but it's only part of the story. I want you to understand these storms are hundreds of miles across. They can be hours and days that they impact our area with the storm. So kind of keep that in mind. A lot of people are nodding their head saying, yes, I've lived through it. But for those that are not in the room, you may not fathom that a storm can impact you, even though it doesn't directly hit Snow Hill. So I mentioned our, websites to pay attention to. If you add /Newport, you can get our local page. It's really, really good information. We've got a little catchphrase with that. I don't know if you remember from last year, but if it's a weather you love, weather.gov. So that's all you need to remember is weather.gov. Whether you move from here, you visit grandkids, if you do weather.gov and you click on the part of the country you're interested in, you're going to get that local forecast, whether you're in Myrtle Beach, Alaska, or Maine. Really, really good resource. If you are on social media, we are recording this presentation. So if somebody could not come today, it will be on YouTube, NWS Morehead City. So we're all over social media, and the reason we are is that's where we wave our hands and stomp our feet. Hey, Florence, the category is decreasing, but we're still going to get catastrophic rain. Hey, the season's quiet now, but you better prepare because it's looking to be an active one, especially when we get into the fall. And that's where we use social media. One thing we do give to the community are briefings. It's not a quick video, but on your phone, you have access to this on our website. How much rain are we going to have? When is the wind going to start? When is it going to end? What are the other threats? That is all in our briefings. That is on our website as well. I mentioned the second website, hurricanes.gov. The National Hurricane Center is part of the Weather Service. A show of hands, how many look at this forecast each day? It may not look like this, but on your local news, have you heard them talk about updating the tropics? So you see this. It's updated 4 times a day. It shows you a low, medium, and high chance of a storm. This is something you should be paying attention to now. You don't need to watch it four times a day. Just first thing in the morning, hey, do we have a storm coming in the next 7 days? Is there something out there I should start paying attention to? This is a really good thing to pay attention to. And then as we get closer, I can't tell you how much information is out there. You don't need to go all over the place. Watch your local meteorologist, hurricanes.gov, weather.gov. That's it. You don't need to be tracking models. You don't need to be looking at news articles unless it's local media, hurricanes.gov, weather.gov. We'll give you everything. When is the wind going to get here? How much rain are we going to have? By the way, we have a tornado threat. Those things you should pay attention to. The reason why I come here each summer is our peak of the season is not until mid-September. Who is excited about NFL football starting up? We got preseason games, college basketball starting up soon. September 10th is halftime. I want you to remember that. September 10th is halftime of hurricane season. We have a long way to go. We've had storms in the month of September. That's usually our peak, but Matthew was in October. So just keep in mind, if you're new to the area, I see a lot of head nods because we have a lot of experience. But once we get past Labor Day into October, we're not out of the woods. September 10th is halftime. So now is the time to prepare. And if you didn't realize, we do get a lot of storms in eastern North Carolina. We're actually the most prone area in the whole country. Florida, Texas, we're number one. That's a picture just down the road from us from Matthew in 2016, just as a reminder of that. So we're going to now switch gears and talk about preparedness. If you're familiar with our website, weather.gov, we already talked about it. If you just put /hurricane prep, so weather.gov/Morehead City /hurricane prep, and that'll be on the next couple slides. So I see folks writing it down, and I can work with Sharon getting you more literature as well. But that is a great website. Everything you need is on that website. What should I have in my kit? Food, water, medicine, cash on hand, evacuation routes. What I want you to remember from this slide, other than the website, is planning now is key. If you wait until the storm is here, we will run out of supplies. And think about your life. When you had time to make decisions and think about it, you made good decisions. When you were rushed and you had to make quick decisions, maybe not as good. So planning now is key. You're not stressed. Yes, it's hot outside, but overall the weather's pretty quiet right now. So now is the perfect time to plan. When you do plan, I want you to think about this first. Before you get to the kit, before you get to the evacuation route, who is in your house and what are you reliant on? If you need electricity for oxygen, if you cannot live without air conditioning because you have asthma, this is something you need to pay attention to. Do you live in an area that floods? Who's in your home? Your vulnerability is step number one. Once you've determined that, then I do want you to make your hurricane kit. We really apportion people to a week. 3 days is ground, basement, floor, at least 3 days. And what I mean is anything you would need to be on your own. Food, water, medicine. We're not talking, we're talking about things that you have to be on your own without electricity, cooking without power, things like that. But this is where you got to remember everybody. So folks that live in your home, pets, grandkids, anybody that is with you needs to be included in that kit. And we say out to 7 days because you're not just going to be able to go out to the store like normal. I understand you might not be able to get it this weekend. Mr. Eric came, I want to get my kit, I really want to get prepared. Just spread it out. Focus on what's most important first and then get to the other items when you can. So this weekend, I want you to think about getting bottled water. That's most important. Make sure your prescriptions are updated. Make sure you've got your contact lenses, any medical supplies you need. That's most important. Then a couple weeks from now, you work on your canned goods and things like that. That will help spread out the financial impact. You don't need to do this all in one step. You can certainly spread it out. So step one, how vulnerable are you? Step two, your kit. Step three is please have a plan to leave the area if you need to. And we try to say a couple options if you can. Raise your hand if you have family that comes visit you. They come from, right? So keep those hands up. Go visit them. Go return the favor and visit them. A lot of people say, well, I'm just going to go to a shelter. A shelter is a safe place. It's not a hotel. It's not as comfortable as your relatives or a hotel out of the area. So it is a safe place, but it is really the last resort. So if you could, I promise you, will be more comfortable with your relatives or your own hotel than a shelter. And try to have a couple plans or at least thoughts. Maybe Richmond, maybe Goldsboro, maybe the mountains. For Helene, they would come down here. It just depends on the storm. You can't just always go to Raleigh. Raleigh may work. Raleigh may be worse than us. So just kind of have multiple options in the back of your mind. So now we've established our website. We talked about having a kit. We're going to end with what you should pay attention to if we get a storm. And it's not just this. Raise your hand if you've heard somebody say, I'm not going to leave the area unless it's a 3. Or I'm not worried about that thing. It's only a 2, right? Couple reminders. Florence, what was Florence on the scale? A 1. And it was very impactful. Did you see in the news a couple weeks ago about Chantal? It was only a depression when it went through Raleigh and produced some of the worst flooding since Fran in 1996. So I'm not saying not to pay attention to this. Mr. Eric did not say, hey, he said it's a Cat 4, don't worry about it. What I'm saying is, don't just use this as your decision maker. It's important. It shows you how bad the wind's going to be. If it's a 3, 4, or 5, the wind's going to be bad. But don't just look at this and say, oh, it's a low number or it's just a tropical storm. You don't have to be a meteorologist to know if we get 30 inches of rain, it's going to be a problem. And that will not show up on that scale. This is what I want you to pay attention to. Water, 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 water. 85% of people that die are because of water, and a majority of those deaths are in vehicles. So don't cross flooded roads. If you decide to stay, stay put. If you decide to evacuate, stay away. Don't be in a rush to get back. So that's what we're going to end with. We're going to end with the impacts we can get. Last time I checked, we do not get storm surge in Greene County. So our biggest risk where we stand is flash flooding and flooding in general. And again, the category of the storm does not tell you how much rain we're going to get. It only tells you the wind speed. So never cross a flooded road. Cars can float very, very easily. And we will issue flash flood warnings that will sound on your phone. But it's also a good idea to have a NOAA weather radio that will wake you up at night if your phone is off or not working. With the creeks around us, we certainly get the flooding across our area that can last for many, many weeks. So we get the flash flooding, real quick flooding, but then the rivers come up and stay up. Contentnia Creek and others will come up and then they can stay up for quite a long time. So water is definitely our biggest issue. Down the road from us in Hookerton, this is what it looked like in Matthew. Water is rapidly flowing. Don't ever cross a road. But if you are thinking about crossing a road, you may not realize it doesn't exist underneath. So number one, water's powerful, but number two, that road may not be there anymore. So that's why we brought this show and tell. This is just to show you the height of what water can be. So we use this along the coast for our storm surge, and we have storm surge down there, and we talk about how high the water is. This blue marker is 3 feet of water, so it's up to my hip. So when we say 3 feet, you might say, oh, that's nothing. It's up to my hip. 6 feet is me. Contentnia Creek floods, the major flood stage is 25 feet. So I couldn't bring my other 2 poles because it would be above this ceiling. So for newcomers, again, low-lying areas by the creek or areas that flood, just avoid it. It's not something, it'll come up quick, but it's not like a tsunami. It's something you can avoid. So just don't cross flooded roads. As long as we don't do that, you'll be perfectly fine. Our big message with that is turn around, don't drown. Most flood-related deaths are in vehicles. Wind is important. That will take our power out. That's why you need to have supplies on hand for up to a week. Communication can be an issue. Cell phone towers may be down. So wind can certainly be an issue. You can have fallen trees in your yard. It can be a safety issue, but for wind, a lot of it is an inconvenience. But if we're hot like we are today, that can be life-threatening if you don't have air. So wind is certainly significant as well. This storm last year, does anybody remember Tropical Storm Debbie? It was last August. For the most part, we just got a little rain. It wasn't a big deal. But just northwest of where we stand today, we had an EF2 tornado. And I got to edit that slide. It's actually Mr. Roger texted me this morning. It's 125-mile-per-hour winds with that tornado. It was the second strongest tornado in our history in August in East North Carolina. Second strongest tornado. The fourth strongest tornado in our area was this one from a tropical storm. It was the strongest one since 2011. So if we get hurricanes and tropical storms, and this was just a Tropical Storm Debbie, if you have a cell phone, make sure it's on, make sure it's charged up, and it's not on Do Not Disturb. This will provide you life-saving information in the middle of the night. If you don't have this, or even if you do have this, getting a NOAA weather radio is a very inexpensive way to protect yourself. You can program it and it will alert you like a smoke detector for warnings. You plug it into your house and you just set it and forget it, and it will, trust me, it will wake you up. My kids always talk about how loud it is at night. You will not sleep through it. So get a weather radio. We're going to end now with a couple slides for you to take home with. This is all about preparedness. The storm is not here yet. I don't want you to forget about after the storm. We're losing about half our deaths after the storm. You've already done all the work. You've evacuated. You've stayed. You have your kit. Don't be in the yard cleaning up debris if that's something you usually don't do. Get a grandkid or somebody younger to do it. If you get that generator, know how to use it. Don't use it in a closed space like a garage. The water can be nasty around here. We have septic. We have lost people due to infection in Eastern North Carolina because they've been in the water. So just take it easy. It's going to take a while to get back after a storm, so don't be rushed. Take it easy. Don't push yourself. Falling off of ladders, electrocutions, carbon monoxide poisoning, those are all real deaths. And again, that is after the storm is sometimes where we're most at risk. So don't forget about that. So at this point of the talk, especially for new folks, I see that glazed look over their face and say, gee, I didn't realize there's this much to it. We live in an awesome area. I love Eastern North Carolina. It's our responsibility to be prepared each and every year. We don't have to fret about how many storms we're going to get. We don't control it. I have no idea if we'll get a storm this year or not. But what you do have control over is getting water this weekend. Just take that first step. Get bottled water for 7 days. Then next weekend, get the canned goods. Get your insurance paperwork in order. Get cash on hand. Just little baby steps. So then you just go about your life. If we don't get a storm, great. You're well prepared. If we get something, you don't have to worry about it. You know where to go. You know that you can take care of yourself. And that's it. We just move on with our life and enjoy the awesome place that we live in. So that's all I have to say today. Do you want to say anything? Okay. So that's all I have to say today. I try to keep it short and sweet because I'm a hungry person and I hear lunch. So I know I'm the only person between you and lunch. So we sped this talk up a little bit, but just remind yourself when you see this poll, you think about water and how I couldn't bring the 2 extensions to this because it would be higher than this building. So when we're talking about flooding, it can get very deep and very bad in our county. Never, ever, ever cross a flooded road. So I'd be happy to take any questions. That's my email. If you like this talk, we do these at churches. We'll do them anywhere. Just let us know about it. Before you leave, and I appreciate the question, these brochures up here are for you. I strongly recommend the Hurricane Guide from the state. It's got everything I talked about in a nice book. Yes, ma'am. Yep, and I'm going to repeat it for the online audience. So the question was, how do hurricanes and tornadoes start? Hurricanes start in the ocean. They have to get their energy from warm ocean water. That's why they don't occur in the winter and they only occur in the summer and early fall. So hurricanes definitely start over the water. Tornadoes can occur over land, and they occur in tornadoes because it's already spinning. So that's why they can occur together, if that makes sense. But yeah, hurricanes definitely start over water. Great question. But Debbie, last year we showed some pictures of Debbie. That's a reminder. On the whole, Debbie was a nothing for Eastern North Carolina, unless you live where we had the EF2. Big deal. So that's why we emphasize leaving this on and having a NOAA weather radio. Again, I don't want people to worry, but it's good to be informed of what could happen.
Most of you may already know this, but when you was talking about if you've got the oxygen that you need to have supplied, or if you have COPD, you need air of some sort, there is a form that it's called Special Needs Registry. We can fill it out here and send it to DSS, or I think it goes to, does it go to EMS? Andrew?
So that,
The Special Needs Registry?
yes, it goes to DSS.
And then y'all are notified as well?
And then we kind of notify.
Right. So like, if you know you've got oxygen or you know you've got whatever, you can fill out that special needs registry and somebody's going to check to make sure you evacuated, or if you couldn't evacuate, that, they bring you a generator or whatever.
It's very important that you do register with that, so that way we know to check on y'all to make sure that y'all are safe or have an evacuated route or whatever the case might be with that. And that
We have those forms here.
that way you are accounted for and that you do have what you need to make it to the store.
Oh, no, you're good. Well, I appreciate you joining me. I don't want to keep you from lunch. Please share this with people that couldn't make it today. I'll be here again next year. We do these every year because we want you to be safe and have that information. But if there's anything we can do more, we're all ears. Just let us know.
And if you didn't